Hey guys, Julia here. Welcome back to another video, and today we're fleshing out the rest of the May setup with the weekly spreads. If you haven't seen the setup video, highly suggest that. I'll leave that link up in the card and down in the description. The first weekly was of course finished in that video, and I got a whopping 9 days in a single spread, complete with a fun little flip up. I've been loving those, so I still have 3 more weeklies to set up here. So with this first one, I'm going to do a pretty similar flip up rolling weekly, just like the first week, but changing up the placement of the daily events chart, and of course working in a new style of lantern here with my tombos. I'll leave all the supplies used for the setup down in the description along with the color codes for tombos. So if you want to recreate any of these, or if you like any of the colors I'm using, you'll find all that information down there. I really do pack the description with not only links to supplies, but discount links and codes, fun comment prompts, and at least one time before I've snuck in a secret giveaway down there. So I say always check it out because you just never know. But as I'm getting this lantern sorted out, I'm going back over to some areas to make subtle shadows there. You can do this with tombos, super tips, pretty much any water-based marker, and get a shadow pretty easily without like having a darker marker on hand. So just a quick tip there if you weren't aware. But I've added in my little gold accent piece there, and I'm going to go ahead and outline the whole thing and add in my white highlights to make it look a little wet and dewy. And much like the initial setup, I'm going in with that faux watercolor technique for the falling petals. Okay, over here on the right will be my rolling weekly setup, and these are always quick and easy, which is a plus, and it gives me lots and lots of space for writing tasks, another plus. So I started adding in some petals down here, totally forgetting that this is going to be covered up by the flap, so just ignore that for now. I was getting my practice in for the real thing, I guess. But anyway, time for the flap. Using a sheet from my Archer & Olive white dot grid notepad, I'm going to trim off the edge there, fold it in half, and get the dots nicely lined up on the page. I do think I'm without a column of dots on the right and on the left, but that's totally fine. Everything else is going to line up, so I can still use this rolling task list all the way down. Now I'm going to throw those petals back in the bottom right corner using that watercolor technique along with some metallic watercolor for those darker values. Add in a little washi tape accent, of course, and then start to move inside of the flap with my master project list. I've explained this a couple of times before, I think, but this is just a running list of longer term projects that my partner and I are working on at any given time, and it basically helps me keep a visual on all the larger projects we have going on at one time. So yeah, this bottom section is even more room for rolling tasks, but if you're wanting to try out this flap idea, it could be a space for notes or doodles or weekly habits, whatever you want. Alright, for this next spread, I'm switching over to another layout that I've really been loving. It's a really quick setup, and it gives a lot of planning space and a lot of doodle space, which I'm all for, but it ends up being a really quick setup because you don't have to draw boxes out for the daily boxes. You literally just split the page up. And I know you're going to be wondering about this pen I'm using. It's pretty amazing. It's called the Zig Kokorio. I don't know if I'm saying that right, just be aware. And it's probably the finest lettering pen I own, and I just love that you can get this really small hand lettering with this. It's pretty awesome. For the doodle here, I'm shooting for these pretty historic downtown style lanterns, and this one actually surprised me because it looks like a watercolor painting from a distance, even though most of it is straight up Tombow. I ended up adding a very fine and very selective outline to this one to kind of maintain that rough, sketchy watercolor look overall. And hey, I even have room down below for that master project list. Again, very quick setup, very functional weekly layout here, and I just kind of adore this delicate light, this lovely little light pole. Okay, and just like that, this is the last spread of the month, and I'm wanting to go with a decorative Dutch door rolling weekly for this one. It does have an extra Monday tacked on, so 8 days here. Oh, and I have to say while I'm thinking about it, I've really just been enjoying the bullet journal community here this last month. Well, I guess longer than that, but especially this last month. I even jumped in a Zoom call with complete strangers from a Facebook planning group, and we just hung out while everyone was like working in their planners. I seriously am not the most social person in the world, but it was a good old time. And my patrons have just been super chill. I've been enjoying connecting with the folks on Instagram, and of course you guys on YouTube here are the best. So I'm just feeling not so nerdy about all this, which is pretty awesome. But okay, back to the spread. This little section is going to be the Dutch door, and I said decorative Dutch door, so I'm just running these falling petals all the way down this bit of the page. And for some reason, I didn't pull the metallic watercolor palette in the shot, but that's what I'm using for this darker shade of pink that you're seeing. And for this lantern, I'm just calling back to one of the lanterns I used in the monthly spread to sort of tie this theme in a nice little bow here at the end. I did have to kind of keep going back and forth to the lantern just because I had to wait for things to dry out a bit before going back over it with the outline and gold accents. So I'm just gonna go for this Dutch door here. I'm cutting around that one outlying petal just for a bit more interest and shape. And again, using this cutout here ties back to that cover page and that lantern cutout there. The back of the door will actually be functional and will have my master project list and a little notes section. I already told myself that if I needed more task writing space and I haven't already used this notes space, this is where extra to-dos will go. And then of course the rolling task list is a pretty easy setup. I did add gold accents here along with some washi tape to dress it up a tad, and there we have it, a super cute cutout rolling weekly to end the month off. Of course, if you want to see how this ends up working after the pin, check out my Patreon for exclusive monthly flip throughs after the month is complete. Hey there, before we get into that final flip through, I do want to thank you guys a ton for checking the video out, and I'm also going to need you to hit that like button if you've enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much if you have. Thank you guys so much for watching, and without further ado, let's check out these weekly spreads, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. And if you like this video, here are a couple more I think you would enjoy.